opinion. Each side will have a total of 10 minutes to speak. Development plans require a public hearing. However, no action will be taken by the Planning Commission members, and we'll remind you of that as we go through the agenda. Rezonings and street renamings require a public hearing, and once the public hearing is completed, Planning Commission members will deliberate and render their decisions. Planning Commission members with a personal or financial interest in any petitioner's request are required to recuse themselves. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the members of the Planning Commission. Well, we're honored today to have a new member join us. To my left is Mr. Jerome Moore. Mr. Moore, would you raise your hand? Also, we have Ann Clemens. We have James Reed. We have, to my right, we have Patrick Moss. We have Frank Cook, Cruz Reeves, and Buddy Harker, Vice Chairman to my left, and yours truly, Kippy Tate, Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a full agenda tonight. And we're going to just tell you right up front, we're going to have to push it along because there's a lot of voting there's a lot of voting that has to take place. We're not going to be rude to you, but we're going to nudge you to kind of keep the show moving because otherwise we're going to miss dinner tonight, and that's not going to be a good thing. I want to introduce the members of the Planning Control staff. Mr. Robert Smith, Director of Planning, Mr. Tommy Tyson. We have James Center with us tonight, and we have Tanya Ingram with us, the lovely Miss Tanya Ingram. She keeps us all straight up here. Members and petitioners are requested to please speak directly into the microphone. The minutes are recorded for legal purposes, and this is the only way to accurately pick up audio. So from time to time, you'll hear somebody up here say, speak directly into the microphone. That's primarily the reason that we have to make certain that all this is recorded properly. We have 8 members tonight, so you shouldn't have a problem with a quorum in terms of getting your votes that you need. But I must tell you, if you think that that one guy who's not here is going to cause you problems with a vote, and you've calculated how things may go, you can ask us to delay your request. We do have a quorum tonight, as I mentioned before, and it will take 5 members of the Planning Commission to approve your action. So just know that that's the case. However, if there is a 4-4 tie, the motion fails. There's 8 of us here, so you could get a 4-4 tie, and if that is indeed the case, the motion will fail. So here again, you can calculate on your own. If you think that's going to be a possibility, then you can remove your item. So let's take care of the minutes at this time, if you don't mind. Members of the commission, have you had a chance to review the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That's everybody. Thank you so much. As I said before we get started, there's a lot of items on the agenda tonight, and hopefully we're going to have to go through a lot of repetitive discussion, and if that does happen, we'll remind you to keep it moving. So, Mr. Tyson, you ready to go?
Mr. Chairman, there was one item that was advertised that's not on the agenda. They withdrew it, or asked that it be delayed. It was an item of rezoning on Taylor Road East. If there's anyone here concerning that, they won't be heard tonight.
What's the number, Tommy?
It's not.
Oh, it's not.
It's not on there. But
It's not on the agenda.
Okay. Gotcha.
Thanks for that. Did everybody understand what Mr. Tyson just mentioned? And if there's no issues with that, Mr. Tyson, let's proceed, please.
Okay. First item is Flowers and White Engineering. On behalf of Park Place Center LLC, it's a request for approval of a master plan and to rezone 15.18 acres along both sides of Fane Park Drive and Fane Park Loop from OO zoning to PUD.
Very good. Present your item, please. Go ahead and present your item.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Kenneth White with Flowers and White Engineering, representing Park Place Center LLC. We presented this last month, and we tabled it to have some further discussion with a couple of members in the audience, and we've had those productive meetings, and we've made some changes to the plans. I can go over that right now. Like I said last month, this is a 15-plus acre site at Zone 00, and we're asking for PUD rezoning. We're asking for some 30-foot lots, some 50-foot lots, and to continue the office that is there currently. The side setbacks for the 30-foot are 0 and 5, with 5 foot between structures, and 5 and 5 for the 50-foot lots, with 20-foot front setbacks on both products. I can entertain any questions, or should y'all have any?
Okay. Members of the commission, any questions from you guys? And I want to make sure that you did get with the people who had problems with it last time. Everything's worked out.
Yeah, I can show you what it said. This right here, they were originally townhomes proposed, and we've changed that to 30-foot lots.
Okay, we had a public hearing last time, so we won't hear any additional testimony. I want to verify, though, that the opposition that was posed in the previous meeting, that has been worked out. So if there's anybody here who was on the opposing side that would like to come up and verify that.
They said they weren't going to attend because they were satisfied.
Okay, very good. Well, a motion is in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded. All in favor? Motion passes. Next item.
Next item is by Flowers and White Engineering, Park Place Center LLC. They're requesting final approval of Park Place Center plat number 5 on both sides of Fane Park Drive and 500 feet south of Minnie Brown Road. It's a proposed PUD district.
This is the first plat for the first final plat request for the previous rezoning request on the item 1. We're asking for several residential lots and an office lot for lot A right here.
Okay. Members of the commission, any questions or comments for this item? Seeing none, a motion's in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. All in favor? Thank you.
Next
Item
item
number
by Flowers and White Engineering on behalf of Milner Real Estate LLC, requesting final approval of Piedmont National Plat Number 2, the northwest corner of Jean Street and East 5th Street. It's a M1 district.
Again, Kenneth White, Jr., Flowers and White, representing Milner Real Estate LLC. This is a simple plat request. We previously platted Lot 3 as shown right here on Piedmont National Plat Number 1. We've added an additional office lot and as well as another lot right here that was separated. So there's 3 lots total in this plat. Again, there's an access easement to access this back parcel from Jean Street. Any questions?
Kenny,
Yes, sir.
lot 2,
Yes?
what, has there been any conversation, what's going there?
Yeah, there's a cell phone tower
okay.
right now, and we carved it out should it be conveyed at a later time.
Gotcha.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the commission?
How's access to it?
There's access from Jean Street. There's a 20-foot access easement that goes across this lot to access that parcel.
Okay, any members of the audience wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, motion's in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. All in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item is presented by Saxon, Maine, on behalf of Montgomery Locations Incorporated, requesting to rezone 2 parcels of land containing 16 acres on the north side of East-South Boulevard and the east side of Fisk Road from B4 to B2.
Stephen Speaks with Larry Speaks and Associates. I'm working with Saxon, Maine, and as you heard last month, this was delayed with Mr. Frank Potts with Aronoff Realty. The proposal is to rezone what we call the old Kmart property on the east-south boulevard there at the intersection at the boulevard and Woodley Road. At the request of a petitioner that talked last month, went and met with some of the members of the neighborhood that directly abuts the property to the north, which is Sutton Place, Gay Meadows, and Glad Lane. We've actually met twice. We met on the 11th. We had about 6 people attend that meeting, and at the request again of the neighbors, we met again the next week, which was last Thursday, on the 20th. We talked about a variety of questions that the neighbors had in the property directly to the north. 3 of those things that I'm just going to touch on briefly is there was a concern about the use of the property going to a climate control storage facility. That's what's on the table. That's the whole purpose in the rezoning. There were some ideas of other uses, but there was nothing presented at our meetings to make another use happen. There was some security questions that came up with the people to the north on Sutton Drive about people jumping fences behind the buildings, and the developer, we went back to the developer. The developers agreed to put a fence up with, there's going to be security cameras around this new facility when they occupy it for security purposes, as well as lighting on the back of the building. They've agreed to do that. And they've also given us some hours of operation. This facility will only have access in the front, and they'll have to have a security card access to get in and out of the facility. There was also a question about what it would look like. The facility, the building will stay the same as is. They're going to paint the facade some pastel color, but there will be no significant structural changes to the building. It will basically stay as is, other than some entry points in the front. And we also discussed at length about the rezoning. This B2 zoning will allow them to put the climate control storage in the building. It greatly reduces the car traffic, which will allow the developer to actually come back in the future with the potential of doing some out parcels on the boulevard side, which is what they would like to do in the future, but that's not on the table right now, but that's down the road behind going to the B2. So that's sort of a summary of our meeting from the last couple weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
Well, yeah. Any questions from the commission?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Your proposal is only for that building, it's not to build anything else in those parcels?
This rezoning is to rezone the property from B4 to B2. B2 allows them to put climate control storage in that building. That's what this rezoning would allow them to do. Yes, sir.
Any further questions? There was a representative from the neighborhood who was here last time. We won't have, a public hearing was held last time, but ma'am, I see you in the audience. I will give you a few seconds if you'd like to say anything to this, but we're going to vote on this tonight. If not, we're going to move. Oh, here she is. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Phyllis Hall. I am the representative from GGC Neighborhood Association. And as Mr. Speaks said, there were 2 meetings, and he gave the number count. At the first meeting was 6. At the last meeting, there were 21 residents available, and we have some of them in the audience now. We had another one who wanted to be here, but her son was sick, but there were others who wanted to be present. In the second meeting, in that discussion that we had, there were questions asked according to what Mr. Speak said about the security. However, out of those 20 people who were available, there was not a single person who was in favor of this rezoning. And I do have the names of the people who were present. I'm sure it's Mr. Speaks does, and their addresses. And in that meeting, Diane, who was present, asked a question of Mr. Frank Potts. She wanted to know, did he know the name of this particular developer? At that particular meeting, we were not able to be provided the name of the developer. And therefore, our question became, if you can't give us the name of the developer, well, we can do more research upon him or her. How can we trust that what you're saying will actually happen in this area? Furthermore, we acknowledge that there is a storage, Uncle Bob's, about less than a quarter mile down the road. There is another storage a quarter mile down the road, I think moving southward. It is not climate controlled, but there is a storage. There is a storage going up on McGee Road as we speak right now, Storage World. And our complaint, and always is that we desire to see something else put there. And as Mr. Speak said at that time, we did not share as much with him as we desired, but we are working as a neighborhood. We are organizing, and Mr. Potts came up with a beautiful idea that we form our own 501c3 to see what we could do to actually work within city realm to form this building. And sirs and ma'am, as I'm here standing with you, you trust and believe that 501c3 is in the making. We are talking, we're putting together a board, and we want to work with the city to try to do something different in our neighborhood. We would like to see something else put there. There's an incubator that was downtown closed. We would love to partner with the city. We're talking to other members, our city council rep, to see what we can put in that building that would make our lives as the residents of Sutton Place and Glad Lane more to the desire where we have a concept of a business that we want to go and actually be patrons of and not become storage dumps for others' junk.
Ms. Hall,
Yes, sir.
we appreciate you coming forward, but as I said, the public hearing was last time. We hear you. We got a real good sense of the side of the coin that
You
you're
want
on.
to hear the others?
No, I said the public hearing was last week. We only gave this as a courtesy because
Okay.
we saw you in the
Well,
audience.
we ask that you vote and consider us as the residents who live in that area, sir.
That's right, and remember, will be a recommendation to the
I know, but
city council.
you recommend that they do not have that rezoning, sir.
Okay, very good. So we're going to vote on this tonight. I want everybody to know that. And ma'am, the public hearing was last time. This was a courtesy to the neighborhood representative that I think you all elected or somehow put in place for this
And with
particular
that
activity.
hearing, do
Ms.
we
Hall.
even know who Montgomery Inc. is?
Ms. Hall, we're going to vote.
Okay,
Motion is in order, please.
Move to approve. Second.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Any abstentions? No abstentions. Motion passes. Thank you very much.
The next item is by Larry Speaks and Associates on behalf of Montgomery Locations, Inc., requesting final approval of McGee's subdivision plat number 2A on the north side of East South Boulevard and the east side of Fisk Road in a B4 district.
Stephen Speaks. This is a proposed replat to carve out a lot in the southeast corner of the above-mentioned parcel of land for a proposed sell-off of that lot in the future. They're marketing this property. This property will abut the boulevard in that southeast corner. If you'll recall I know that map flipped, but if you look at the aerial, there used to be a building in this location years ago before it was demoed. You can see the green spot there now. They're hoping to have somebody buy and build on that lot in the future.
Very good. Any members of the commission wish to speak? Have any questions?
What are they talking about? I mean, I'm sure that y'all had been some conversations, Stephen, on that. What are they talking about using that?
And this piece, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
this
it's
piece,
just carved out. I mean, it's,
they have not told me who they're talking to.
but they are talking to somebody.
I understand that they're talking to somebody. I don't know who that is.
Mr. Speaks, the question that I have, with all the unknowns for that parcel that you carved out, how do you know it's the right size? I mean, how did you come up with the dimensions?
It mirrors the parcel next to it. There was believe it or not, a Po Folks. Remember that restaurant years ago that sat on the parcel right next to it? It mirrors the same size lot as the one next to it.
I heard you, but I
Right.
don't think you answered my question. How did you determine the size of that parcel? If
The owner of the property asked for that size parcel, 300 by 150.
It's half the size though, isn't it?
Now, there's a parcel next to it. You can see it dashed in on my drawing right there.
Well, on our drawing is what.
Yeah,
Okay, I see. Yours it is, okay. On the one-
Let me-
I got you.
let me flip
We're with
over.
you, we're with you, we're with
you
you.
may not have
Oh,
what we had.
no,
but I
it's
don't know.
not that on the aerial. No, sir.
problem.
The aerial's not
Gotcha,
correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the aerial, I see what you're saying now.
Right.
Well,
And
the
then-
aerial is correct as the parcels are now.
So, do what?
The aerial is correct as the parcels are now. This will change the county parcels.
This will
That's the
increase
line
the
you're
size
seeing.
of that,
Yes, sir.
the
It'll-
depth of it.
The
Yes, sir.
depth.
I see. So
I see what you're saying
what you're
now.
saying is what's out there now is actually what's shown on the
Area.
aerial, but what he's doing is actually expanding that existing size to the dimensions that are shown on his drawing.
Yes,
I
sir.
got you. Okay.
That's it. Now I'm clear. Thank you.
It won't cost you a dime. Okay, does members of the commission, any more questions on this item? Members of the audience, wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, is the motion's in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
Who made that second?
James.
Speaking to your microphone a little closer.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor? Motion passes. I'm sorry. I thought you voted.
I didn't.
Any opposers?
No. I'm opposed.
He's opposed, right? Let the record reflect that Mr. Hardwick opposed that item.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Next item by Larry Speaks and Associates is on behalf of Child Protect Incorporated. It's a public hearing for a development plan for an addition to a building at 935 South Perry Street. It's a B2 district.
Stephen Speaks again for Child Protect. Child Protect has an existing facility located on Perry Street. We're south of I-85 on the east side of Perry. On this site development plan, the existing building sits about the middle of the lot. There's an existing concrete parking area that wraps around the building, comes back out on Perry. They bought the lot directly south of the existing building. There was a house there at one point. It even shows up in the old aerial photo. That house has now been demoed. They're proposing to add on to the building to the south, keeping the existing facility, adding south. They will wrap the concrete drive around the south side of the addition and come back out on Perry Street. So it's an existing to an existing structure.
Thank you for clarifying that, the conflict that we have up here, because our aerial does show a building right where your addition is going.
There you go.
That was my question for you.
How often do we update? Is this a Google? Tommy, is that a Google map or do we?
County's
How often we update them?
How often we update?
We actually, and this is Robert.
Yeah.
We update the aerials once every 3 years, and as far as I know, this
2016, Mr. Smith.
is 2016.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
The
this is a
map.
2016 aerial.
The Google map or whatever is last
The
year.
county flew it, yes, sir.
Yeah,
The county flew it last year.
2016.
All right. Thank
Okay,
you.
yeah.
Thank you.
But it's not Google. It's literally a live aerial flight done by a company that's hired.
Because if I'm not mistaken, Robert, y'all share data with the county, don't you?
We do.
And all the aerial stuff.
Yeah, we partner on the purchase of the aerial.
That's fine. I mean, now that it's clear, I think everybody's on the same page.
Okay.
All right. Any more questions or comments on this item? Any members of the audience who should speak for or against this item? Keep in mind, this is a development plan, so we won't be voting on this. So this is the public hearing that's been held for this particular item. Any members of the audience who should speak for or against this item? Seeing none, we'll declare that a public hearing has been held, and we'll move on to the next.
Next item is by Larry Speaks and Associates on behalf of Child Protect Incorporated, requesting final approval of Child Protect Incorporated Plat Number 1 on the east side of South Perry Street, some 200 feet south of Julia Street in a B2 district.
This is the plat following that same development plan you just heard. Existing building sits on this lot A. It's approximately 100 foot wide by 158 deep. They're adding a 50-foot lot to the south where that old house was that got torn down into the overall parcel. So it'll be 150 north and south by 158 approximately deep, still fronting on Perry Street.
Question that I have is this, there's a dashed line that kind of goes diagonal through that lot. And
Yes,
it says see culvert note.
That's right.
And I don't know if I got that note in my packet, but what does that mean?
There's actually a culvert through there that we're going to have to deal with in the building construction. There's an old culvert, an old drainage ditch that cut through this property from decades back. that goes back into the, I think, 30s or 40s that we're having to deal with on the construction of this addition. Yes, sir. That's what that culvert is.
But will that structure be on top of that culvert?
It will, part of it will bridge across it, yes, sir. And we've got to do some special things with the city to allow us to do that, some license agreements and certain things to allow us to do that.
Any other questions from the commission? Members of the audience, would you like to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Next item is
Motion passes.
presented by J.M. Garrett and Son on behalf of Twice the Ice. It's a public hearing for development plan for a new building to be located at 10935 Chantilly Drive in a B2 district.
Go ahead,
My
sir.
name is Eric Stallings. I'm representing J.M. Garrett and Sons on this matter.
State your name again.
It's Eric Stallings.
Okay. Mr. Stallings, would you like to tell us a little bit about what you're trying to do?
Gonna put a Twice the Ice, it's standalone ice machine on lot 6 of, off Chantilly Drive. We're gonna pour an inlet and make a 20-foot wide drive and put a parking lot made with slag gravel.
So it'll be a slag drive?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Members of the commission, any questions for Mr. Stallings? Members of the audience, I'm sorry.
There's a big lot for that little Twice the Ice. Is going maybe later on subdivide it or something?
Yes, sir.
Okay, members of the audience, this is a public hearing. This is a development plan, so we will not be voting on it, but we have to have a public hearing. So if you want to speak for or against this item, this is your chance to do so. Seeing none, the public hearing has been held, and we'll move on to the next item.
Thank you, sir.
The next item, number 9, is Jeff Code Engineers and Surveyors on behalf of Sukha Sinj, Bahati, and Sharangat Sinj. Request for final approval of Crystal Plat number 4 on the west side of M-South Avenue, 200 feet north of West-South Boulevard. It's a M1 district.
Go ahead, Guthrie.
I'm Guthrie Jeffcoat of Jeffcoat Engineers and Surveyors. The owners wish to subdivide this lot that was previously operated as Days Inn, and it's vacant. And in order to meet the marketing requirements, they want to petition it with these lots like this and still use it for business purposes. But this is just step one. Their next step is they're going to have to get an architect and a structural engineer to go and build some petitioning walls that'll meet the building department's requirements to run lot lines through buildings. But he has plans, marketing plans to use it for restaurant and shops and other motel rooms, and we'd like approval of this plat in order to subdivide the property accordingly.
Thank you, Guthrie. When I saw this, I was curious of the explanation that we would get about this particular request. And I just got a question in my mind, do you have to replat it to make the building function with the various uses that you just explained?
Well, he wants it in a position where he can deal with it from a business standpoint. He may want to borrow money on one and not on the other part. May want to sell one and keep the rest. So it's going to be 3 distinctive uses in the final analysis, and he wants it where he can treat it accordingly.
And you may be at a disadvantage, but I got to ask you, it'll all be one building under the same roof?
Still be one building that have the partition walls going up the required thickness and the height above the roof to meet the fire requirements of the building department.
So Guthrie, there's got to be another reason, because there's a way you can do this without replanting it. There's got to be another. You may not know the answer, but you don't have to replant it to do what you just explained.
Well, if you do what I just mentioned, if you go to the bank and want to borrow on one and not borrow on the other, and I think you got to separate it from a real estate standpoint. And if you wanted to sell it, you need some kind of line of.
I'll leave it there, but I'm just
Okay.
letting you know that
Well-
there's a way I think you can do this without replanting it and having 3 distinct lots all under one roof.
Okay.
But that's
Well,
not the question on the
Before we
table today.
prepared this, we talked with the city departments, and I thought that I had an understanding that was the way to go, man.
Okay, well, just know that
Okay.
I think that there's a way to do it, but it's not my project, but
Okay.
I was curious to see why you would split a building and put them on 3 different lots when it's the same building.
You're talking about along condominium lines?
Well, I'm gonna leave my comment where it is.
Okay.
Somebody else can figure it out, but I know there's a way to do it.
Okay.
Any other questions from the commission?
Yeah, do they have already businesses that they have?
No.
So this is just a build it, they'll come type deal. And when you cut it up, they think they'll still be able to get somebody in there.
Yes, there's still, the motel rooms are still intact, and restaurant and so forth, so it will require some money and renovations, but not an extreme amount.
Guthrie, quick question. I've never seen this done with an old hotel. Did they have any example of what they're looking to do?
Part of Montgomery Mall was done this way. Part of Montgomery Mall's been cut out. This planning commission approved it.
I understand.
Let me get, you want me to give you the list of the 3 different lots, what we're talking about? Somebody?
It's up to you.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
The first one there would be a restaurant and a banquet hall. And
First one being lot 1 or lot
it would be lot B3.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, lot B3. Second one would stay as a motel with about, that'll be B2, it'd be 40 rooms up and down, keep both floors. And number 3, which would be B1, would be shops upstairs and kitchenette units, 1-bedroom kitchenette units along with it. And then downstairs, some more kitchenette units.
So those would just be leased, the kitchenettes?
Yeah, there'll be rentals.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And on a monthly basis, nightly basis?
I don't know
Hourly basis?
I hope not.
Tommy, is this property zoned for those level of mixed uses?
Yes, it is. The old McGee Place Shopping Center on McGee Road was done this very way. I think part of East Chase, shops at East Chase was done this way. Montgomery Mall was mentioned. The Walmart on the Atlanta Highway with the adjacent shops, they were cut up into different parcels. So we're not plowing new ground here.
Okay, well, since you brought all that up, talk to me a little bit, please. Same owner that owns all 3 parcels, or however many parcels Ann Street is cut up into, Walmart?
I think they're different owners, different mortgages.
Well, if you plat it, it can very well turn into various owners.
I was talking about Ann Street, Guthrie. I ain't talking about yours. I was talking about
No,
Ann.
no,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know about Ann Street. The one that comes to mind is the Walmart on the Atlanta Highway
I understand.
with Sundown East. I'm not Sundown East, but there's a variety of stores besides the Walmart in that center.
Okay, well, that's fine. Very good. Any more questions or comments for this item from the commission? Any members of the audience wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor, please raise your hand. Wait a minute. Raise your hand. Everybody's okay. Good. All opposed? We got 6 to 2 of them. All right, motion passes. Next item.
Next item is by Tony Kim on behalf of Hyundai Motor Manufacturing Alabama LLC. It's a public hearing for development plan for an addition to a building at 500 Hyundai Boulevard. It's a M3 district.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Young, and I'm representing Hyundai Motor Manufacturing Alabama. Here about a development plan for an addition to a building located at 500 Hyundai Boulevard in M3 zoning district. Hyundai Motors Manufacturing Alabama has submitted a plans to construct a 7,356 addition on the rear of the stamping shop. There will be no additional parking and no changes to the access drives, and all other applicable requirements will be met.
Thank you, sir. This is a development plan, so this body will not be voting on it, but if any members of the audience wish to speak for or against this item, this is the public hearing. Any members of the audience wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, the public hearing has been held. Next item, Tommy.
Next item is presented by Eric Smith on behalf of Car Wash Company LLC. It's a public hearing for development plan for a new building on the east side of Chantilly Parkway, 1,400 feet north of Ryan Road. It's a B2 district.
Hello, I'm Philip Pouncey. I'll be the contractor of the project, and this is Eric Smith. He's the owner.
Okay.
This could be.
Somebody's going to tell us. One of you two guys are going to tell us what's going on.
This is a new car wash on Chantilly Parkway. It'll be located next to the existing Crystal restaurant.
Okay.
Eric, do you have any more in Montgomery, or is this going to be your first one?
This will be the first in Montgomery, but we just built one in front of the
I'm sorry, give your name and.
This is actually the first one in Montgomery.
If you would, so.
The first one in Montgomery, but we just finished one about 6 months ago in Millbrook in front of the Walmart.
So Eric, tell us your name.
Eric Smith.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm hard of hearing.
I'm probably speaking too much Southernese there.
Okay, any other questions from the commission?
The point is, it's not your first rodeo.
No, sir, it is not. It's actually our third location.
Good. This is a development plan, so there will not be a vote as mentioned earlier, but this is the public hearing for this item. Any members of the audience wish to speak for or against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, a public hearing has been held. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item, Tommy.
The next item is by Pilgreen Engineering on behalf of Trum LLC, requesting final approval of Chantilly Car Wash Plat Number 1 on the east side of Chantilly Parkway, 1,400 feet north of Ryan Road in a B2 district.
I'm Pep Pilgreen with Pilgreen Engineering. We did the platting for the property for the previous item. Just a plat next to the Crystal in front of the Carmike Theater.
Okay. Members of the commission, any comments or questions for Mr. Pilgreen? Seeing none, any members of the audience wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes. Pep.
Next item is by Pilgreen Engineering on behalf of Isaacson Family Enterprises LLC. It's a request for final approval of Isaacson Plat Number 3 on the south side of Troy Highway, 290 feet south of Business Park Drive. It's an M1 district.
Okay.
Pep Pilgreen again with Pilgreen Engineering. This plat, the Isaacsons have owned this land for a good while, and there's several different lots, and they're just trying to collect them up and get them into a better order. Really, we're not planning on doing anything with them now, but trying to get them in a more logical sequence.
Okay. Questions, comments for Mr. Pilgreen? Any members of the audience who speak for or against this item? Motion's in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item.
The next item is presented by Mark Dauber on behalf of Frank Lassiter, requesting rezone a parcel of land 7.386 acres on the west side of Mobile Highway, approximately 300 feet south of Pyramid Avenue from Ag 1 to M1.
I'm Mark Dauber, representing Frank Lassiter, the owner of the property, and the request is to take it from agricultural to M1 zoning.
Okay.
Mark, was there any reason y'all went M1 rather than M3 out there
Just feel like there's probably more versatility.
in the M1?
Yes.
Any other questions from the commission? Tommy, the question that I have, Tommy, Robert, or some staff, says land use plan recommends high-density residential. So how does that square with what they're trying to do out there?
Well, we have a old outdated land use
Land use plan is outdated. And it's due to be updated in the fall.
Say that again, it's due to be updated when?
In the fall for the whole entire city.
Is that right?
That's
That
right.
is wonderful news. Very good.
Comprehensive plan.
Yeah, there's a lot of M1, M3s out there, so I mean, it's right in the midst of it.
Very good. Any members of the audience wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Motion to approve.
Yes.
Second.
Motion's been moved and properly second. All in favor? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item is by Donaldson, Garrett and Associates on behalf of Alpha Properties, Inc., requesting final approval of O'Reilly Auto Parts Westport Plat Number 1 on the west side of Mobile Highway, 200 feet south of Burnsdale Drive. It's a M1 district.
Good evening. I'm James Newberry with Donaldson, Garrett and Associates. I'm requesting approval of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Westport Plat Number 1. It's a one-lot plat. Nothing's being changed on the parcel. No new right-of-way dedication easements. Nothing like that. It's a simple plat. O'Reilly Auto Parts does have this property under contract and wishes to develop it as a retail auto parts store.
Okay. Questions, comments on this item from the commission? Members of the audience that speak for or against this item? Seeing none, a motion's in order.
Move to approve.
The second?
Second.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor, please raise your hand. That's everybody. Motion passes. Thank you.
Next item by Lat 32, Inc., on behalf of Thai Engineering, requesting to rezone one parcel of land, 4.71 acres on the west side of Norman Bridge Road, 3,000 feet south of Hyundai Boulevard from Ag 1 to M1.
Hi, I'm Dustin Aldridge with Lat 32. I'm representing Thai Engineering. Right now it's an Ag 1, of course, and they want to go to M1. On this, it says a new building will be used. That's not so. The existing building will be used for storage mainly, and they'll do some welding, some parts. They'll have about 5 employees there, and that's about it.
We skipped something. We skipped something. We did skip 16.
Oh, wait a second here. Are we talking about item 16?
No, I read the wrong one. I read out of order.
That's okay.
This is 17, I'm sorry.
No problem, Tom.
Just finish it.
We're all human, buddy. No problem. So we're on 17, everybody. So if you'll flip over.
Read it again for the audience.
Yeah, let's start. Let's reset, Tommy. Let's start over.
Okay.
17.
17.
That's Thai Engineering.
Lat 32, Inc., on behalf of Thai Engineering, requests to rezone a parcel of land containing 4.71 acres on the west side of Norman Bridge Road, 3,000 feet south of Hyundai Boulevard from Ag 1 to M1.
And we've heard your explanation, so
Okay.
you don't have to do that again.
That's the old Hall Brothers Dairy.
Yes, sir, it is.
Any other questions or comments?
Kevin, I have to recuse myself. I think my company's selling that lot.
Well,
so
please do recuse yourself.
I'll recuse myself.
Duly noted. Question that I had was, it says normally tractor trailers will not stay at this site. However, some deliveries or pickups may require tractor trailers to be on the site for a short time. What does that mean, short time? It's a short time?
Just pick up delivery. That's it.
No overnight?
No overnight, no. because they'll be coming from the Hyundai plant. They supply the Hyundai, and they come and pick it up or drop off any items they need.
Okay, all right. Didn't know what a short time meant. Okay, any additional questions or comments? Any members of the audience who speak for or against this item? Seeing none, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor? All opposed? Patrick,
Oh, no, I approve.
let's take the vote again.
Yeah.
All in favor, please raise your hand. That's everybody. Motion passed. And one recusal, you're exactly right. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, go back to
Now let's go back to 16.
Go back to 16, professional engineering consultants on behalf of ABC Beverages. It's a public hearing for development plan for a new building to be located at 8739 East Chase Parkway. It's a B2 district.
I'm Danny Clements. I'm going to be the builder and the owner of the building. I told Pat I'd come over here tonight and present this. We're proposing an 8,100 square foot strip center. It'll consist of a alcohol beverage control board store in the center of the building, which will be 4,500 square feet, and it'll have two 1,800 square foot rental spaces on each side.
Okay. And just for the record, our packet, and Tanya, you did clean that up, but just want to put that out there, that this is for a 8,100 square foot building in lieu of a 7,000 square foot building.
Yes, it is 8,100. When we originally turned this into James, the state wanted a smaller store, and they came back and wanted a bigger store, so we had to modify it a little bit, make it a little bit bigger.
Not a problem. This is a development plan, so we won't be voting on this, but this is the public hearing for this particular item. So if there's anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for or against this item, this is the time to do so. Seeing none, a public hearing has been held.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Number 18.
Number 18 is Lat 32 Inc. On behalf of Dominic Saxton, requesting final approval of Dominic and Faye Saxton plat number 1 on the east side of Old McGee Road, 4,200 feet southwest of Mobile Highway in an Ag 1 district.
Once again, my name is Dustin Aldridge. I'm representing Dominic Saxton. The reason we're platting this property, he's building a house on the property, and it's less than 10 acres. So we had to plat it in order for him to get the necessary permits from the city. It's out of the city limits, but it's in the police jurisdiction.
Gotcha. Thank you. Questions, comments from the commission? Any members of the audience who speak for or against this item? Seeing none, a motion's in order. I'm sorry. Let's stop. I see a hand coming up. Yes, ma'am. Would you like to speak for this item or against it? Please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Shirley DuBose. This is my husband, Chaplain DuBose. We are the neighbors to Mr. and Mrs. Dominique Saxton that's supposed to be building the new home. We just have a concern. We would love to have them as neighbors, but we do have a concern, and that is the access road that's located on just right off Old McGee Road belongs to us. And we just wanted to make sure that the instructions present it in such a way that they will not take over our road, so we'll be able to get in and out. And we do have plans for the road that we currently use, and we'll be putting up a fence. So we wanted to make sure that there would be no problem with him building the house, are getting to his house. So we were told, after we received the letter in the mail, certified mail, that it shouldn't be a problem, but we just wanted to make sure of it, and that's why we came today.
Let me make sure I'm understanding you correctly.
Yes, sir.
Are you saying that the drive that takes the folks who are going to build the house is going to take them across your road into their property?
That's what it appears to look like. And so we don't, we just wanted to make sure of it. When they sent us the diagram, in the diagram, it looks as though that red line is his property, but it looks like it's crossing over on our road. So we just wanted to make sure that that access road would not be any problem. Now, we got a phone call, and the lady told us that he has 3 access roads. Well, it looks like the diagram is showing that it's crossing over. Am I saying it right? That the diagram is crossing over to our road. So they sent us a note to say, attached is a write-up, the zoning map, and it says that it appears that your access drive back to your house could possibly be on his property. So they was trying to tell us in the letter that it was not, but according to the diagram, it looks like it's crossing over on our road.
Let me do this, because you guys are engineers, right? Surveyors. Well, that's right, you're not an engineer. Can you address her concern from how you got this laid out and the access and the sharing the road, or whose road is on what road, and show us up here, please, where she lives and where your guy's going, and how do you get there?
Okay, the road now, some of it comes on to our property, little strip, and then it goes.
Let me interrupt you for a second.
Yes.
Robert, do you have that pointer?
Oh, here you go. Just the green pointer.
Okay, when we survey, the road comes in right here, and then it kind of, I'm shaking, so, but it comes off of that property on the here. So there's not a road all the way to his house, but the road now, at the beginning, it comes right in here on to his property, and then it veers off.
Is that what's the width of that? That's a flag lot back to Old McGee Road. It's all it is, a flag lot that comes out. What's the width of that?
I think it's 25 foot.
Okay, all right.
And,
So,
but he actually said, I don't know where he's getting this from, but you see this curve right here? It's a road right there. It goes along there. And it comes out here. He said that's the way he's going to access it. I don't know how, but I know we had to give him access from Old McGee Road.
Come to the mic, sir.
Excuse me, sir, if you will, come up here and let's hear what you
Can
have
y'all
to-
show the aerial photo 18C?
Yes. My name is Edward. You see the little white road on the right-hand side, the red heavy set line? That's a dirt road that can lead into it as well, so I'm not sure which route he's going to plan on to access his property. Right below the red heavy dog line.
Right here.
Which lot is y'all?
The red one, pretty much the red one.
The red one is to the north.
It's just
I think the red one is the one, that's the subject property that we're discussing, and the road, we're just trying to regurgitate this to
Right.
make sure we're following you along, but it seems like the lower portion of the drawing. Where the red is where the road/property conflict is taking place. Are we starting to understand that correctly?
That's correct, sir.
Mr. Tate, Kippy,
Yes.
their property is to the north of
Right, just to the left of that,
that
right there, right there.
That's theirs.
Well, no, we're not talking the same thing then.
You're not talking about the white road.
Kippy,
Yes, ma'am.
you can't see it because it's zoomed out and that line is so thick, but
Mhm.
there's actually three, according to the survey, three legs back to those properties back there. You can't see them on there though.
On this particular,
Yes.
well, thank you, ma'am.
So at the end of the day, do they have access to McGee?
Yes.
So
have
both
legal
parties will have different access. Is that what we're, is that what we're saying?
Yes.
And then there's another one? There's
They're
three?
talking about one to the south
Okay.
that
So
I
there's-
wasn't aware of.
So there's three individual accesses to three individual properties.
Well, I don't know how he's accessing it on the south.
Oh, I thought you said there was three.
Oh, no, there's three that's under that red line that you cannot see on that
That's
area.
that's what I'm saying.
one.
There's-
Yes.
There's
To three different lots. You see that triangular lot on the aerial? There's an access to it, there's an access to their property right there, and there's an access to the one in question.
Right. But each one of them has a road that that goes to their property from McGee Road that they own they own the right of way, or do they have an easement? Or do we know?
They own it.
Huh?
They own it.
They own it. So
Yes.
everybody's got flag lots, is what
Yes.
they got. Okay. All right.
Everybody's got access to their lot.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that the way y'all understand it?
No, because there's only two access roads established right now going into those properties.
He's gonna build the third one.
Yeah, if he build a third one, that's fine, but that's, right now, I don't think that's gonna happen.
We just want to make sure that
Speak.
we would just like to make sure that it's clear that our access road is ours. It's included in our property.
Yeah, and I think what may,
And we have plans that we would like to put up a fence, a gated fence.
On
So
your
we don't
access
want to have any type of qualms about that.
okay, stay right there for 1 second. Tanya, I think what may have gotten their antennas up is, I think this is something that you may have sent them at some point.
I did.
Where it says, don't be alarmed that it appears that your access drive back to your house could possibly be on his property.
Because coming off Old McGee Road, their driveway slightly curves onto what he's creating for his lot right now.
So at some point,
It's not straight, it curves.
I hear you. So to me, that's what the surveyor should clean up. Go ahead.
But again, let me make sure y'all, they have a flag lot.
They do, and it's platted. Their property is already platted.
That goes all the way back to McGee, that is their property, it goes back to their house and the rest of their lot back there.
Yes.
Just like what you're trying to do to get access to McGee.
That's right.
And then there's a third one
Yes.
somewhere. Okay.
But it'll be separate.
But-
separate
but-
access.
But buddy, she's saying that correctly, but I think what's got them a little concerned here is the way this is telling them that what he is proposing, he being the subject
Right.
person is proposing, could swerve on over to their lot, or their road, really. Is that right?
Their road may be encroaching on him.
Right.
That's
In other words, their road may be actually on his property.
Yes, sir.
That's what I'm trying, does everybody understand the rub here?
I'm sorry you can't see it up there.
Yeah. Because it's not graphic.
Has
Yes.
your property been surveyed?
Go ahead and ask your question to the mic.
Yes.
Your property's been surveyed and all your road and all your house and everything?
And it's
is on
down
your-
at the courthouse.
Is on your property?
Yes, sir.
And all your drives and everything?
Yes, sir.
So everything is on your property?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And we want to keep it that way. We want to keep our
I don't blame you.
I agree with you.
Let's acknowledge Robert Smith for a second.
And I want to make sure I have your name right. Is your last name Dubose?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
D-U-B-O-S-E.
Shirley Dubose?
Uh-huh. I'm
And your
Shirley
husband
Dubose.
is?
Adolph, A-D-O-L-P-H.
Adolph, okay. Well, I just looked, and it is hard to see on the aerial, but I did look it up on our property GIS tool, and it does show they have a flag lot that runs along that right there linearly, that literally goes up to the north to their actual property. So there should be a strip of land that you can't see on that map that actually runs parallel.
It runs parallel to this road.
Yeah, it runs parallel. Can I see your? Let me see my point.
I think he has it up there.
He has.
Yeah, I got you. Here you
Give
go.
him the map. There it is.
Well, I think what's concerning her is the letter from the city.
That's what.
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
what- that's.
and that was a courtesy letter that we just send to people because it was something adjacent to where their property is.
Basically, it's incorrect.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
let me
The
ask you-
letter's not incorrect. It was just a notification letter to them. Is that correct, Tom?
Hey. Hang on just a second. We all can't talk at the same time. We're all concerned that we want to get this right. So everybody relax for a second.
Okay.
Robert, finish what you were about to say.
So what I was going to say is, based on what I've looked up, their access runs parallel to this.
Yes.
And it runs all the way up to their property up here off the map. And I mean it's similar to this right here, but I think theirs is not quite as large as this piece of property.
That's correct.
It's actually a little smaller.
So, yeah. So the petitioner here, what's drawn is what you intend to build. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, if I'm not trying to lead you, I'm trying to understand.
Trying to build.
What's shown up there?
Right now, I don't know whose road it is, but it comes onto our property right off of McGee Road, just, I say, about 15 feet, and then it curves up.
You know, with this level of uncertainty and confusion, I wish that we could get something that's a lot more accurate in terms of what we are hearing but can't see. And that takes a survey or whatever it is. I know, Robert, but
Well, at the end of the day, conceivably what could happen is because this hadn't been utilized, the flag, the road could be onto his property.
It very well could be.
But it may be that what y'all have to do is y'all's flag lot is a straight line and the road has got some curvature to it. And it does go, I mean, it could be. The problem is none of us know.
We don't want any interference.
You need to show her.
Yeah, but see, you know, this is not the way we handle this. This is not the way this gets handled. To be honest with you, it needs to be something a little bit more specific than what's been presented. And that's my opinion about it. Anybody else share the same concern or have a different opinion?
I have something to say. I deal with this in real estate all the time.
Okay, welcome to the commission, Jerome.
You have an owner that's been using the property in a certain way for many, many years. Perhaps the property line has changed a little bit due to that use. And you have an owner that now has a new survey that says you're on my property.
Okay.
It happens all the time. The best way to resolve it is for the two parties to get together and say, is this okay to leave it this way and use it at my will? Or if you want to cut them off, then you have a property dispute. And if the Lat 32 survey shows that it's somebody else's land and your survey shows that it's your land, it's a property dispute. It's much better, it's much less costly, and it will lead to better neighborhoods or neighborly relations if you work it out on the front end and say, hey, can we continue to use this and continue to use it the way that it is? You can't do that, it gets expensive in a hurry.
And I think what you're really saying is it needs to be worked out. If there's an issue, it needs to be understood and worked out or some position taken before it's actually brought to us. Is that Is that understandable to both of you? Because we don't resolve the dispute down here or figure it out down here, but what's been presented is not clear as to what the actual conditions are out there.
We have a survey, if y'all would like to come to our office to look at it. We have the survey of the property and the roads and the additional properties.
Okay, so
Our land has been, oops,
you're doing all right. That's okay.
our land has been surveyed by the VA administration. My husband is active duty. So he did come out and do a survey. And we have our land already surveyed when we moved in the area in 2005 is how long we've been living there. And Mr. Saxton's mother and father is also our neighbors. He has a fence, the same road that we're talking about. He has a fence going up, all the way up, parallel to that road. So he has white fences up, and we don't see it as being on our property at all. It has not been a problem.
Just a suggestion.
But now, we have, just one other thing is, we have talked with the new Saxtons that want to build their house. We let them know that this particular access road is part of our property. It's part of our property. And so he's aware of it, but we think, and that's why we're here today, is because we don't want a problem.
And ma'am, that's exactly why we're trying to avoid you going in that direction of having a problem. But it seems like, given what we've heard tonight, it's going to take some actions between the both of you prior to bringing this to us. And Buddy, you were going to say something?
I just was going to make a suggestion, because I think we up here realize that what's happened is this hadn't been platted, that land that you're trying to plat, and so it's been utilized for years out there. And at the end of the day, there's no doubt in our minds that what you're showing us is the platted lot that you want. The problem is the road that they've been using for years probably does go across it, and so what she's thinking is that is her property where that road is, and it may not be. It may be going across yours. So in my suggestion to you is rather than asking her to come or them to come down to your office, why don't you take the plat that you've got out there, you look at their plat, and then y'all can lay out where the actual flag lots are. And it's probably going to amount to nothing more than straightening a road out. That's probably all it's going to amount to. But unless they can physically see it, I know I'd be confused just like y'all are. That's my suggestion.
Yeah.
And and come back next month. That's what I would suggest.
Yeah, I think where we're going is that when you go off Old McGee Road, the main road is straight. But then when you go to our house, that's when it curves.
Right.
Go to the actual house that we live in. That's when it curves.
So
and
here's
our
what
driveway curves like this to go to the garage.
Ma'am, we understand that there is a problem. We don't have a solution tonight, but we're wanting to ask the petitioner if they'll delay this item for 30 days, come back next month, and give both of you a chance to iron this out.
Okay.
And I think you got some real good suggestions from Jerome, our new commission member, about some possibilities of where this could or could not go. So if it's agreeable to you to delay this for 30 days and rub out any of these issues that are problematic for both sides, let's do that. So is that an agreement to delay it for 30 days?
Yes, sir.
This item has been delayed for 30 days, Tommy. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Y'all
Number
need to
9.
exchange names and
Yeah,
phone numbers.
Tommy, let's go, 19. They'll work that out. They'll work
All right,
that out.
Lat 32 Inc. is requesting Ram Hotels Plat Number 1 on the northwest corner of Eastern Boulevard and Carmichael Road in a B3 district.
You're up again.
All right, this property, I'm sure y'all are familiar with it. It's the old Cracker Barrel, sits on the corner.
Oh, yeah.
And then on the west side is a hotel. What they're planning on doing is they're going to sell the old Cracker Barrel site, you know, split it off and sell that. They already have a buyer, and keep what they have, the rest for the hotel.
Right now, it's one. Right now, before you replat it, it's one parcel.
Yes, sir.
With the hotel and Cracker Barrel on there.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, any questions from the commission? Members of the audience, if you wish to speak for or against this item, please come forward. Seeing none, a motion is in order.
It's plat, isn't it?
I'm sorry. Well, you need to come to the microphone, sir.
My name is Jimmy Gunn. I'm president of the Woodmere Neighborhood Association.
Okay.
Been there since 1977. I guess my question is this, and I'm just here to find out. Are you saying that the Cracker Barrel will be torn down?
No, that's not.
That's not what he's saying. I don't want to talk for you. He's basically subdividing the property into two lots, for lack of a better word, and giving the Cracker Barrel its own lot and giving the hotel its own lot. That's what the purpose of this replatting is tonight.
And that's strictly to be able to maintain ownership of and operate the motel that's currently there, and then on the same other side to allow the Cracker Barrel to be sold at some point in time. And when that happens, then we'll have another meeting when somebody comes in and decides what they want to do there at that property.
Not necessarily.
Well,
if they don't change the footprint of the
James,
building,
we can't hear you, buddy.
if they don't change the footprint of the building, it would not come back for any review.
Or if the use is within the allowable zoning.
Yes, sir. If somebody wanted to come back in there and open another restaurant and didn't change anything on the site, it would just be circulated with the departments. There wouldn't be a public hearing.
Okay, so if it comes back as a restaurant, it's basically a done deal. If it comes back, they want to tear it down or convert it to a barber shop or a bowling alley, then they have to come back before the
Yes, sir. There'd be a public hearing.
public
for a
hearing
new
at that
development
time.
plan. Yes, sir.
Thank you for clarification.
You're welcome. Thank you, James.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions from the commission? Members of the audience, any more comments from the audience? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. All in favor? Motion passes.
The next item is by
Thank you.
Syscon LLC on behalf of Gaharty Inc. for public hearing for development plan for a new building to be located on the west side of Industrial Park Boulevard, 1,000 feet north of John Knight Close in the M1 district.
You may go. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Behringer. I am here on behalf of Syscon, and we are petitioning that we have submitted plans to construct a two-story, approximately 115,000 square foot building for manufacturing. There'll be 218 paid parking spaces. There'll be 2 access drives for future extension of Industrial Park Boulevard, and 2 access drives to a future street that's going to run, depending on where you're looking at that runs to another lot that is landlocked in there. We'll meet all applicable requirements. This property is located outside of the city limits, but it is in police jurisdiction.
Very good. This is a development plan, so we will not be taking a vote on it, but this is a public hearing. So members of the commission, any comments or questions? Any members of the audience who should speak for or against this item have any comments? This is a public hearing. Seeing none, a public hearing has been held.
Thank you.
Next item is by Goodwin Mills and Kaywood on behalf of Gahardy, Inc., requesting final approval of Montgomery Industrial Park Plat Number 10 on the west side of Industrial Park Boulevard, 1,000 feet north of John Knight Close, M1 District.
As he's getting his boards together, this is the plat for the previous item.
Stole my line. Max Vaughn, Good Mills and Kaywood, and as Mr. Tate said, this is the plat for the previous item, and we'll be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Okay. Commission members, any questions, comments? Any members of the audience who speak for or against this item? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and properly second. All in favor?
Next item is by Goodwin Mills and Kaywood on behalf of the Waterworks and Sanitary Sewer Board of the City of Montgomery to request for final approval of Interstate Industrial Park Plat Number 15 on the east side of Bill Joseph Parkway, some 2,000 feet south of Wasden Road. It's a M3 district.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna recuse myself from this one. I've had involvement on this property.
Let the record reflect that Buddy Hardwick has recused himself.
Max Vaughn, Good Mills and Kaywood. This is a 16.8 roughly acre piece of property for a new industry to go out in the Interstate Industrial Park.
Very good. Members of the commission, any questions, comments for this item? Seeing none, any members of the audience who speak for or against this item? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and properly second. All in favor? Motion passes.
Next item by Goodwin Mills and Kaywood on behalf of CarMax Auto Superstore, a public hearing for development plan for a new building to be located on the west side of Eastern Boulevard and the north side of Woodmere Boulevard. It's a B3 district.
Before you go, this is a public hearing for a development plan, so we will not be voting on this item. Go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jim Edwards. I'm with Balch and Bingham here, representing along with CarMax. We have representatives from CarMax here, Mr. Jason Pruitt, Mr. Greg Say. If there's any questions about the company, this company is a nationwide car dealership looking to come to Montgomery. They're already in Alabama. This will be the first facility that they've established in central Alabama. And with that, I'll let Max present to you the development plan.
Okay, Max.
This plan that I have that y'all are seeing here is the same plan, just a little rendered, colored up. But the access will be off of Woodmere Boulevard, and the customer lot will be here. The building will be here, and the sales display lot will be here facing Eastern Boulevard. And if y'all have any questions, we'd be happy to address them.
Okay, any questions, comments? Commission members? Buddy?
I just was wondering, I mean, did you just present the plat?
Plat's next.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we were on the.
We're still following protocol.
I know where we are number-wise, but the way you presented it, I thought, well, we were.
Sign it like a plat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it was.
You're good. It's getting late, man.
It is
We're
that.
good. So any other questions or comments from the commission? Members of the audience, wish to speak for or against this item? This is the public hearing. Development plan, and we'll declare that a public hearing has been held. Now comes the plat.
Next item, Goodwin Mills and Kaywood on behalf of Marlumco Investments LLP, requesting final approval of CarMax Plat Number 1, west side of Eastern Boulevard and north side of Woodmere Boulevard. It's a B3 district.
Go.
Max Vaughn, Good Mills and Kaywood, plat for the previous item. Happy to answer any questions.
I need to recuse myself in this one as well.
Very good. Let the record reflect that Jerome has recused himself. Buddy, you had a question?
Yeah, Max, where are they going to access this off of?
Off of Woodmere Boulevard.
West of north.
Yeah.
You can see more
Well, I was looking at the other. But I can see that. Where? Tell me what you. Yeah. Woodbury. Okay, I see what you're doing. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay. Fine.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Max from the commission members? Any members of the audience wish to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, a motion is in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
We're at the end of our agenda. Is there any other business that comes before the commission? James?
No, I thought they had some.
Okay, very good. Well, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.